win this battle. Let's go.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
All right, namaste and like catch my family, and welcome to another Team Light Interviews. I am here with the most amazing alchemist, heart coherence, co-star Mrs. Barbara Hudak. How are you doing, Barbara?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Good morning, all.
Good morning. Good morning. We are filming this interview because people need to know about you. Not only you, but what you've been up to. I mean, I've never heard of a 5-month alchemy course to make new things that you're currently involved in, and not only all the amazing products and everything you have and that you have created, but also your post-conference workshop where you're going to be taking everyone with you doing the different alchemy steps, and so they can make their own stuff. Would you like to talk about a little bit about that, or what's popping?
Oh my gosh. So it has been, I haven't been in school in a long time, and I thought, it's going to be easy. No, it kicked my butt probably the first month or so, but I'm learning so much about everything that we've already been blending intuitively and with downloads is being backed up by research. And that's really the reason I'm going to school, is to bring the research to bring aromatherapy into the world. I work a lot with veterans and people with post-traumatic stress and anxiety and things like that. And I'm finding that those type of blends, the different constituents in them, can support mood disorders. They can support being more grounded, being more whole, and kind of not losing your I'm gonna say not losing your shit as easily. It's helped me over the years, and I'm finding the science is really helping to bring that forward. So I'm excited to learn more, and I'm doing case studies. I have 20 case studies due by April. So just blending different things for different people and seeing what's happening, and I'm getting really, really good results. So there's so much more to plants and than I ever knew. And in the post-conference, we're going to go through looking at the quintessence, which is actually the spirit or the soul of the plant, and working with that collectively and to create what your intentions and your affirmations are.
The quintessent? Okay, you have to explain to everyone what the quintessent is, because it's been a very long time since at least in this incarnation, probably never, since I heard that vocabulary term. Can you explain what it means to actually work with Mother Nature and the quintessent and the true essence of what nature is sharing with us, and how to maximize that for people in their daily lives? And I know a lot of gardeners out there and people that have beautiful, gardens, and they're really into it. They understand the life force of flowers and energy and plants and the trees and whatnot. But I think it'd be cool if you could explain a little bit into a deeper dive on what that is and how alchemists use that to maximize their yield.
For sure. Yeah. So this is something that it's quintessence, and the person that I'm actually working with and have been working with is a ancient alchemist, and I'm probably going to get his name wrong, but it's Paracelsus, Pericletus, I don't know, but back like in the 1500s, and was actually a physician and then turned alchemist and was really into the quintessence. What is the soul of the plant? When we think about essential oils, how they're created, they're very rare in nature. There's not that many plants that create these type of essential oils. And really what they are is they're called secondary metabolites. And what that is it protects the plant. It protects it from intruders. It protects it from pests. It also really call in birds so they can pollinate. And it's just this beautiful force of nature. And to be able to tap into that and to understand that some oils, like for example, the ones we'll be talking about a little bit later on, like vanilla, that or bergamot or some of these citrus oils, what they do for us is they uplift our mood, they uplift our spirit. And to me, when I get to bring the science in and see what these oils are doing in a measurable way, that gives me the validation because I'm very much left brained. I'm very, prior military. So I like to see things rather than feel them. And that's been my entry point into really getting into appreciating plants and nature, and specifically the ones that have such medicinal value for us. I mean, alchemists of old used plants and tinctures and potions to really help. And that's really what it's fun to bring the ancient wisdom into present time and to support it with metrics, which is what I love. So,
That is awesome. As a team member here at Team Light in Sedona, it's awesome. My whole thing is crystals, stones, alchemy. I work with stones and alchemy all the time. We just got back from Tucson getting a bunch of new stuff for the store and for new alchemical designs for different layers of orgonite, how to yield and maximize the yield of some of these energy devices that we create here at Team Light. So it's very awesome that we are co-parenting this alchemy that you are also creating. And I can tell you first and foremost that one alchemy you create for the planes, trains, and automobiles. What's it called? The immune boost.
yeah, it's called Angelic Shield now because we added some archangelic frequencies into it. But yeah, it boosts your immunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angelic Shield. Like I wish I had that at Conscious Life LA and just rubbing it on my body. Know what it is? It just creates like a barrier. And it also does have some antibacterial qualities as well. It's not just all mumbo jumbo. There's definitely essential oils. And to remind everyone that the base elements in every single pharmaceutical on this planet is an alchemical result from pulling something from nature and synthesizing it. What are some of the things that you feel are most relevant right now, 2025? I know you want to talk about heart coherence. I know when you get up on stage, you've crushed it in Bastrop and outside Austin, for the last two or three events you've been with us. But what are some of the things that you feel, being, studious in heart math and, utilizing your heart coherence courses? What are some things that you feel the population is going through right now? And some of the ways in which in their daily life they can assist themselves and not only being more self-aware, but in self-healing. People need to be aware of the stresses our environment are putting on us. You know what I mean? And how are some of the ways that you transmute those things?
Yeah, well, it's such a good question. And I'm going to say I'm not speaking on behalf of Heart Math. I am a senior trainer for them. I get to train trainers, but my experiences have been my own. I think, when I even got into this work, I was so programmed in a way. I worked in a big medical center. I was prior military. And so I was just kind of like going through the motions. I didn't even realize what I was feeling. And I just knew I just had to push through and go, go, go. And so that to me is a really common story that when I work with a lot of my clients who are very much either prior Navy SEALs, special force operators. So they're very structured into just pushing through. And I was thinking about that this morning, actually. This came through where I think about post-traumatic stress and whatever the labels are, which I'm not a big label person, but the pressure that they're under in combat, I really relate that to what we're going through as light workers, light warriors. We've been through a freak show, however long we've been on this planet, and even prior to with our ancestors, the wiring of how we've developed, we've mutated to become more resilient and stronger and really, be carrying that shield and carrying that sword and just being really, really strong. it works until it doesn't. And I think for us, I think as we're stepping into the theme of the conference, Rise of the Guardians, some tips that I would say for guardians who already have been around, they've got their awards, they've got their ribbons, they've got their medals. How do you keep yourself composed? How do you take care of yourself? And I think that's the important part is the pushing through is great, but how do you take care of yourself? Do you take time to sit in your heart, to be still? Because the heart, again, isn't just love and it isn't just like peace and grace and joy. It is that fire. It's the passion, it's the ignition. And that's what really strengthens us. It gives us energy, it fortifies us. And at the same time, it's about balance. It's about balancing, like you say beautifully, Rion, that night side and that light side. How do we come together in the heart? That is where the energy comes from. That is where the solidity comes from so that we can maintain our composure in the midst of these times. We're stepping in. Those of us that have been chosen and chose to be here, we really have to pull together, come into our own heart strength, and then come together. Like I love this conference because it's really going to be a gathering of forces, a gathering of light workers and guardians who are really stepping up to the very end. I think we're at the precipice of this really launching into that new world that we've been waiting for. And so to me, it's about compassion for self, compassion for others. At HeartMath, we call it compassionate latitude, to really take that moment, take a breath, look at the situation rather than reacting, which I'm not saying I'm 100% at this at all. And you know that. But the idea about being able to pause, take a moment, take that breath, and then choose. To me, it's the choice point where what is in front of me, how do I discern, and how do I respond appropriately? And that's where the power of the heart really comes in. Doesn't mean that we're weak. It doesn't mean that we're, letting things just go or we're dismissing things. We're coming at it from a more wise place, and that place is in the heart. So that to me is a key piece right now.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is for all the ex-veterans out there, guys that and men and women out there across this planet that may have had experienced PTSD or some of the things in trauma. Miss Hudak is an expert and helps many people work through a lot of things and a lot of traumas, and that's kind of what she does. That's her side commander mission. Is what she does. That's why she's such an expert and why she's such an asset to not only Team Light. But do you want to talk a little bit about your history? Not just the Air Force, but you were also a nurse an ER nurse, right? Worked in the emergency room for how many years at the Mayo Clinic?
Oh my gosh. So I worked, I worked cardiac ICU first, which I love the heart. So no doubt I'm working with the heart again. But yeah, emergency room. I did flight nursing for a while. And it's just, and especially in the military, we were when I was stationed in Germany, we were, it was wartime. It was, everything was blowing up and we had to really learn to maintain, even in our simulations and our drills. You've got this whole list of people, a whole, let's say there's a plane crash or there's some really big thing that's happening. You've got to keep it together as the incident commander or as the nurse in charge of who gets priority. So it's triaging, and it's not crying about, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's like, no, we got to get it together to save as many people as we can. So that translated into when I was working at the Mayo Clinic, I was working more in administration at that point. So it's kind of running the hospital, if you will, on a daily operations. And it is, you can only imagine, between the emergency department where people are maybe having a psychotic break or somebody's, coming in with a, what do we have? Like active shooter incidents. Not that we had a lot, but it was enough to you have to be on your toes. So that is kind of the idea of how do I, rather than losing my beans, how do I keep it together and then not suppress it when I come home? What did I used to do? I didn't really do well. I would have a lot of unexpressed anger and rage and frustration. I just didn't know how to manage it until I learned about this HeartMath process. And you guys will see this when you come to the conference. I put a sensor on somebody's ear and we just measure heart rate variability, what's happening in the nervous system. And there's red, blue, and green. Red means you're not really coherent, which is you're not aligned. So your sympathetic branch, which is your fight or flight, and your parasympathetic, which is more of your rest and digest. When they're working together, we're smart, we're creative, we're intuitive. When they're not aligned, which was me for probably the first 2 weeks when I had my sensor, I'm like, what is wrong with this sensor? I had just programmed myself. I wired myself to be on a state of alert and what's going to happen next and what do I have to fix? And because it was everything was riding on my shoulders. And so I realized that's a lot of pressure and it works until it doesn't. And I think for all of us figuring out what is that breaking point? What is that place where we can manage it and then at some point it just pops. It's learning to intervene before we pop and before we say something we don't mean or we act in a certain way that we will regret down the line. So that's been a huge game changer.
Okay. Now that you've learned and do assist active and retired military in the civilian world, let's talk about the secret space program. Let's talk about some of the things and the PTSD and the stuff that a lot of beings have to go through when they're regaining their memories.
Yeah.
There's a lot of techniques that you will share and do share about assisting all types of transmutive, abilities, but really how to process, how to move that energy out, how to view the memory, but not let it have it affect you anymore through breath work. I know the heart coherence thing is very important, but I want everyone to know on earth that there is a way. If you are I got a lot of friends in the SSP. Let's talk about it. I got a lot of friends. I've gone through a lot of them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that I've met in Sedona, guys and gals out there that have been going through a lot of stuff. What can I say? It's the same lesson plan, whether you're processing something that happened in Afghanistan or something that happened off world. It's the same type of trauma. It's the same type of experience. And to have the tools necessary to balance yourself is very important right now because some of the most gifted beings I know have gone through some pretty traumatic stuff in their life. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that are truly gifted. We're truly the lights, right? In this show we like to call life. And sometimes the strongest of us have to go through the most experiences, and some of those experiences can be negative. So Barb, I tip my hat off to you, and if you guys are coming to the conference, I definitely recommend going over to Barb's table, getting some information. And also, I know you do sessions as well, don't you?
I sure do. Yep.
Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about that and how you've helped people?
Yeah. So the sessions that I do sometimes, most of them are remote. So it's beautiful having Zoom and having that type of connection, thank goodness. But yeah, what I typically do is I just do an intake session just to see, am I the right coach for you? Basically, it's coaching, mentoring. To me, it's more of like a big sister energy, if you will, where do I have all the answers for you? No, I don't know what your soul blueprint is. I don't know what the divine contract is. I can help you to tap back into that and to become more aligned with that. Now, this is not a magic wand session, depending on the level of trauma. I've seen people have been really wounded and traumatized, even sometimes from childhood. And that all just accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. And what we know is it gets wired in. The brain has certain neural pathways where if we've done something a lot, we've felt something a lot, it gets hardwired into the brain. And so the good news is, which I love to give hope to everybody, is we can unwire that. Does it take time? Yep. Does it take commitment? Yes. And I love to use essential oils to fast track that. So yeah, the breath work will help. There's different techniques that we do in terms of heart coherence, which is tapping into the heart, slow, deep breaths, anchoring a memory. Because as memories, what we know in the science is memories. When I feel, maybe people say, well, I can't be happy because right now my external situation is just, there's nothing to be happy about. Well, what if you're able to tap into something from childhood, maybe, or imagine something? Your brain doesn't know the difference of whether you're in that happy situation or content or joy or whatever you choose as your emotion. Just by you feeling it and recalling it, you're creating different biochemicals. First, the different signal in your heart rhythms that triggers your brain, and then your brain starts to create different biochemicals. So you can on demand create oxytocin, which is a bonding hormone, serotonin, dopamine, all these different biochemicals just by intentionally focusing on that memory. What I do is I add the essential oils, specifically ones maybe for pineal gland decalcification. There are different oils that can help to optimize the heart and expand the heart. You start to create a blend, and now with that, you've got a fast track. So we're moving faster. I like shortcuts. I know there's no big shortcuts in life, I know, but if I can speed it up, and accelerate it for that person, then so be it. And again, it's the practice for the person, rewiring, refocusing on the heart, inhaling that with time begins to rewire those neural pathways. And now what used to be a really familiar habit or a trauma response becomes a different response, a different, more calm, more soothing. You operate in a different way. It's like getting an upgrade on on your iPhone, except it's hopefully better. You just process information differently.
Okay, cool. Now, as we are getting deeper into the onion of Miss Barbara Hudak, yes, she's a rock star.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about some cool supernatural things. Okay, so you want to talk about Ireland? You want to talk about the little three amigos going to Ireland? So just so the whole world knows, go ahead and give Miss Barbara Hudak a slow golf clap. When we were gritting Ireland, her and Miss Ava were the ones putting me back together like Humpty Dumpty, rubbing essential oils on me while I'm like dealing with all the shit, all this ancient old stuff that, oh my God, especially when we hit, what was the abbey, the oldest abbey in Ireland, where the guy got the idea for Bram Stoker's Dracula? I
It
remember when
was
we grabbed
Killarney, wasn't it? Somewhere? Is that it?
in Killarney. Yeah. I remember when we grabbed all those souls, and I don't know why I was already gassed, but I was like, everything out of the ground. I do that sometimes. Don't ask me why. I'm thorough. And I remember that after that, I was like sick for like 2 or 3 days towards the end of our trip. And I just want to tip my hat off to you. Thank you for keeping me sane in transport. And I want to also let everyone know on planet Earth that your 3D Earth job, you'd be very surprised at sometimes how it resonates with what you're doing upstairs. For example, Miss Hudak upstairs is a commander. She has a Syrian and very much Andromedan aspects to her. And she's literally is part of Earth Alliance, and I would like to say the Galactic Federation of Worlds. But in this Earth form, it's very interesting sometimes for us to find our way, because it takes time, and she can contest to this, to figure out why you're here. What is your purpose? Slowly turning on these parts of your body that may be dormant, activating that dormant DNA, activating your Kundalini energy, activating your heart, activating your throat chakra, activating your third eye, activating your energy hands. I mean, this is in stages. But I think that Miss Hudak has such a great interpretation of this, because it all starts with the heart.
Yeah.
And any great deed that has ever been done, I can express this to you, that heart was definitely, for the good side, let's just say, the heart was always the most paramount part of that. So the heart and why we do things. Why does the 144, the angelics, and the star seeds work so hard? Why do we try so hard? We have love and unconditional love for this planet. And we have love and unconditional love for all of our fellow brothers and sisters that are down here in this simulation, hacking our way out of this phantom matrix. I mean, not to take this video just to the moon and back, you know what I mean? Like XRP is about to do. But what I wanted to say is that, I want everyone to reference when they look at themselves in the mirror, like, hey, yeah, this may be you in 3D, but this is not you. This is not your soul. You're wearing this thing right now. So mastering what you're wearing to assist in what you need to do in the physical is just as important as any other thing you could ever possibly do in any one incarnation. You know what I mean? Like, what did I do in this incarnation? I mastered the physical. I finally figured out how to operate this suit after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, 80 years. I figured out how to be telepathic. I figured out how to be telekinetic. I figured out how and who I truly am and why I incarnated. So I feel that watching you and listening to your story, it's almost like I can see the progression. I was in the Air Force, and then I was an ER nurse. Now I'm working with heart coherence, and I'm an alchemist, and I'm helping my brothers and sisters with all this stuff that's been forgotten, right?
Yeah.
Or written out of books. You're bringing that back into the mainstream, and it's awesome. What are some cool things that, that not only what you'll be talking about at the conference, but some new discoveries you personally have found out recently?
Well, it's funny you were talking about Ireland, and you just had me thinking back now to my first conference that I met you in 2017, and I was at that point living in the Valley, so the Phoenix area, and went with a couple of my friends. And I'm like, you came up on my YouTube feed, and I was like, I don't know this guy. He's an interesting kind of guy. I don't know. I mean, it was so new to me, and I remember sitting in that audience, and just there was a heart activation, and I started to cry. Nobody else was crying around me. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. But it touched my heart, and something happened. It's like that in that moment, unbeknownst to me, I did not go there for that. I had no idea why I was even going there, just to play and just to meet all you guys. But that, in addition with some of the other speakers who are actually going to be here at this conference as well, Lightstar for sure, her activation, same thing, just these tears. And it was almost like memories came back to, wow, there's more to this. And in short term, I got all the etheric tech. I got my pyramid. As you were installing it, I remember you said you have no idea who you are. You're a commander. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I actually have those in dream time. My memories are coming back. And Ireland was definitely a tipping point. I got to see you in action. I got to see your beautiful partner in action, and just so honored to be part of that experience. It was go, go, go. I wouldn't say it was, every a different place in Ireland in every night almost, going up into Northern Ireland and just feeling soul pieces coming back to me. And that was so key. And I just really want to thank you for inviting me to be part of that, because it's like a whole different part of me showed up, and it's very cool. So thank you for that.
Well, 100%. I mean, here's the thing that people need to know about me. That's the only version I see. When I see you guys in the audience, that's the version I see. So it's like, it's awkward being like, hey, I see you. You're awesome. And then like, you're like kind of waking up out of a coma. You're like, I don't know who I am. I'm like, well, when you get there, you will realize that what I have already told you, you are awesome, So it's, that is something that's a gift we give for one another. We activate each other's DNA. And that's something I want everyone to know on Earth. Watching the videos here is fantastic. And I love you guys from here to South Africa. But when you guys are in the same room with us, and it's not just me, listen, I'm just one of the team members. Wait to meet everyone else. Wait to meet the members that aren't on camera. There are very, very powerful ancient beings that are we call our personal friends, and that will be there. And our job is to activate the human being potential, the human potential on this planet, to raise the planet's vibration, do that with the highest intent, right? And raise the vibration of mass consciousness. And it's really just that simple. But there's nothing more enjoyable for me and my inner child to see someone step into who they truly are. Like I can't even begin to express what that feels like. It's like you meet someone, say 4 or 5 years ago, and then you meet them again 4 or 5 years later, and they're a completely different person. They're like, yo, I'm online. Let's get this. And it's like, I got it. I know I had to clean up the mommy daddy bloodline thing. I had to clean up the ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, and the 401k and the corporate job. But it took me about 3 years, but guess what? I'm on. So it's almost like we're activating each other. And it's just something that there is no other joy I have than to see my brothers and sisters, that light return to them activate that dormant DNA, their powers turn on, their clairvoyance turns on. And guess what? As a team member, it's like the load gets shared with everyone. It's no longer just like 3 people. I think that's why the activations or the planets waking up so fast. All these pockets all around the planet, all these people from coast to coast, sea to sea, they're waking up in their towns, their villages. The kids are coming online. Some of the kids are just straight born awake, right? So it's really, when we first started, man, gosh, 15 plus years ago, we didn't know what was going to happen. Like we hoped, and now seeing all my friends and family, like it was like this, like this is like the great, the rise of the Guardians for me is really the beginning of, putting this puzzle piece back together and really getting with the right people and the right vibration, and really looking into the audience and seeing my brothers and sisters and me and you know about this, Barb, but there's a lot of abundance inbound for us to get these things done. And I await those days, and it's coming a lot sooner than you think. So, with that being said, we had to go through all these trials and tribulations. How it's like, how do you have like 7 ego deaths and 3 purges go? You know what I mean? Some people have never even had 1 ego death. You know what I mean? Or 1 purge, Out here in Sedona, I'm 3 purges and 8 ego deaths ready to go. I mean, I feel like I'm just holding on to Yeshua's hand. He's just dragging me. He's like, you're almost there. I'm like, how much longer? I can't take it. He's like, I'm like holding on to his robe. I'm like, he's let go. He's just dragging me. I'm just holding on to him like a buoy. I'm like, bro, just get me there. I don't, this is weird, So
Yeah.
it's for the comedy for everyone. But what I'm trying to say is that everyone has the opportunity to grow. And if you really do have a great destiny, which many of you do, and every single person watching this video, if you're watching this video, listen, there's 8 billion people on this planet. You're watching this video, you're a very special person. You're showing up to this event, you're a very special person. And for you guys that can't make it for whatever reason, don't worry, we're going to film it for everyone. But I just want you to know you're still a member of Team Light. We are the beings that a lot of different, let's just say throughout time and space, that when we heard the call to come here and assist, it was not something that we took lightly. And I just would like everyone to remember across this planet that you have gifts. And these gifts that are deep inside of you, these are things that were meant to be shared with the planet. Not just your town, not just your village, not just your country, planet Earth. And if everyone started to think that way, I think this planet would shift that much faster. That's the truth. You know what I mean? Like that angelic soul you have in there was created out of unconditional love. So we are getting through this storm together. And I just want to remember everyone to know how special and honestly beautiful each and every one of you are. So that's something I also have to tell myself, especially when I'm dragging myself. I'm putting myself back together like Humpty Dumpty. It's airport Vortex 3 in the morning. I'm dropping off souls. And, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? Why am I still cleaning? Like, what is driving me? And there's something in me, like you spoke about, that fire in my heart. You know what I mean? It's the fire, ladies and gentlemen. It is, I will not let the darkness win. You know what I mean? It's like talking to a sun. Hey, sun, you're too bright. Can you turn it down? They're trying to right now. It ain't going to work. What I'm getting to is find that fire, find that passion, and find that purpose inside yourself. And once you can stand up on your own 2 feet, you help your brothers and sisters, your friends and family, and everyone else around you stand up. And that's what this conference is all about, Rise of the Guardians. Was there anything else you'd like to say, Barbara?
Say amen, brother. It's true. It's true.
That's what's up. I mean, that's how I really feel about it.
And we've chatted, I mean, behind the scenes and stuff, and I'm honored to be a part of your, friend, family and such. It's so interesting to see how, and we do have moments. I think all of us, oh gosh, if you're human, this is not an easy place to have incarnated into. So really giving ourselves kudos to go, look, I showed up. I'm still here. I haven't exited. That's always like a big joke, like, oh, it's so close. But what is going to keep me here? And what keeps me here and on purpose is getting to see people, getting to see my clients, getting to see friends and family, waking up and really being, I was really distressed. And I took that breath, I took that pause. And in that space, we get to recalibrate and go, okay, what was that about? That was insane. And then we've had conversations too, where it can be really challenging, and to really give ourselves grace. We are human. We're going to have those moments. I want to say it's even called like a mystical depression, where we come in with these big dreams and these, I'm going to hear it, I'm going to make the change. And then there's no change. And I'm like, well, this is the week, right? This is supposed to happen. It hasn't happened yet. It's happening behind the scenes is how I have to remind myself. But I think it's the connection, and exactly what you said, Rion, was, being at these conferences, being together, with each other, whether it's, even watching these videos, whether it's live or whether it's on archive or watching it down the line, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, there's still value in that because the frequency is there. I want to just add something about you, which I don't know if you hear a lot, but I just wanted to say, as a team member, the gratitude that I have for you and for your partner to put this project together. I was there when you had the dream of putting this together, and the integrity and the love and the compassion that you both are bringing into this conference. It's always been that way. I've always felt that at your conferences, but to see it in real time and to help out as much as I can is really an honor, and it's a privilege. And just for you to know that you are dearly loved and dearly valued, and just thank you for what you're doing for the collective. I just wanted to put that out to the ether so that it is heard and it is written down in the Akashic. So,
Well, thank you very much. And, I greatly appreciate that. Sometimes it's hard for some of us to, to hear all the good things, because we're always constantly keeping our head on a swivel, to see things coming to, give our friends and family a heads up, But these things we do out of love, that I can tell you. These things we do is because like I think Matthew McConaughey was saying, like, he's chasing his future self, like 10 years into the future. He keeps chasing his future self. For me, it's more like becoming my higher self and, how I would operate if I was in a higher frequency all the time. Like if I was already in 5D, how I would carry myself, how I would help my friends and family, how I would see that all of these differences that we have made up in our heads based upon the programming of this planet was simply created to create separation and to create these fake fence lines around this planet. When you get down to the nitty gritty, that soul spark that's inside of every single one of us, that piece of creator, that could be, whatever that vocabulary term is for you, our piece of source, let's just say, that resides in our soul. Reminding everyone that you are not only a part of this human family, but a far greater family. And I believe truly that if everyone could have it, let's just say had their third eyes on, it can see and it can actually see their ancestors as you look up. Like, this is my POV. Imagine this. Everyone can see this. The cable coming out of your chest, you look up and you see your ancestors looking down on you. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. When you have that level of awareness, all of this rhetoric and poor behavior would stop this fast. When you realize your entire bloodline is watching you, when you realize that you're never alone, when you realize that everyone that is past is always with you in your heart, and that everyone truly just wants this place, this planet, and this vibration to shift to a place where we can be, one again, where we can be one family again. Anything other than that, that comes second or third. The number one thing is, remembering who you are, why we came here, and remember that, this keystone planet, when it shifts, it affects the entire universe. There are greater responsibilities to process rather than what we've been programmed with since we were little kids staring at a mind control device. There's other things that we're breaking free from. And that true sentient, true soul, subconscious and conscious mind becoming one, and people stepping into their true energy signature is what, the end goal is for all of us who truly wish to evolve and get to that next floor of reality. And I think many of us are working on that right now. Many of us are ahead of the curve. And a lot of people who may have just woken up are processing their emotions and experiences right now. And it could be very raw for you. It could be very new for you, right? You just turned your heart on for the first time and you're 35 years old, let's just say. There's a lot of things you're going to feel almost like static electricity going through you because you've never used this. It's like when Neo wakes up, in the Matrix, and he wakes up on the Nebuchadnezzar, And for the first time, he tries to open his eyes and he goes, I can't see. And Morpheus goes, it's because you've never used your real eyes before. You know what I mean? Like, well, imagine your heart turning on for the first time. And now you're feeling everything around you and your memories are coursing through your body. So we understand here at Team Light, it is a lot, but we also understand that we have tools to assist with you integrating, processing, and transmuting, because the goal is to get you up out of that river of unknowingness and get you in the boat. No, we're just trying to. I mean, I'm going through the river Styx. Just imagine this. We're out in the seven seas, and I'm just seeing lights in the dark, and I'm like, hey, grab her, grab. It's not for me. It's not. There is no. I'm gonna help you because you're this. No, 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 no. We are here to assist light and beautiful, awesome beings, and remind everyone that light that they have inside of themselves. So here at this conference, we just want to remind planet Earth that the light is here. We want to remind the entire spiritual community on this planet that the light is here. And in doing so, raise that vibe and raise that bar on what it truly means to be a multidimensional being that has chosen their heart, has gone through their polarity, levels of experience, right?
Yeah.
And has truly chosen to walk with Creator once again, and that's where the line in the sand will be drawn. And even the most advanced beings on this planet know exactly what I'm saying. The line in the sand has been drawn. You're either on the gold team or you're on the other team. What team do you really want to walk with? Okay. And I know there's different levels to this game. And at a sixth density reality, we are all one. I am you and you are me. So as we get there, just to remind ourselves and why we work so hard, why we work the grids, why we assist our brothers and sisters, it's because we love you.
Yes.
And it's because we love this planet. And just me saying that, it makes me kind of emotional. It's because that's really what drives me is love.
Yeah.
And I want to help as many of my friends and family as possible. And I feel that, Barbara, you're one of our team members, our core members. And I know you feel that same way. And I think it suits you quite well, being that you are the heart coherence, that's your and alchemist, right?
That's what I do. Yeah, no.
That's what you do for this conference. So is there anything else you'd like to share with everyone?
I'm just grateful. I'm excited. I know the conference is coming up, and if you're still thinking about it, and if you haven't made that decision, maybe there's other factors. Just kind of give it up to spirit and say, what would it look like if I was there? And I actually dreamed. I saw a whole auditorium full of people, actually friends of mine that have not bought tickets yet, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. And just talking with them, they are in the midst of just a couple of other things that they're figuring out. They're like, oh yeah, that's right, it's coming up. Like, don't forget. It'll just, I don't know, just the fun, the galactic prom, I think is going to be a blast. And just being there with,
it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait. I'm excited. And yeah, we're creating all kinds of new blends for the conference. So there's a blend. Actually, I wanted to share one thing because this came through. In Bastrop for the solar eclipse, we brought a couple of bottles with us. I have a couple of saved. They're in the etheric vault. It's our formulas from Bastrop. So if you remember, and those of you guys that were there, it was so potent. I'd never seen a solar eclipse before. And so in all of our products, there's a crystal. And it's a Herkimer diamond crystal that stores information. And so we had the light codes from that conference saved in a couple of vials. And that is going to be infused into all the 3 blends that we're creating for this conference. So you're going to get the upgrades in the frequency light codes from Bastrop, from that solar eclipse, coming into this solar eclipse. So it is going to be a really interesting formula. We have 3 different blends. One is the angelic shield that you mentioned, Rion. The other is one that you and your partner were instrumental in creating, and it's a lime, eucalyptus, and vanilla blend. And that is called Clear. So that's going to be a trifecta. The angelic shield is to create those environmental protections, etheric grids, if you will, just kind of push out that energy that is not serving you with an archangelic frequency. The Clear is the one that is the vanilla and the eucalyptus, and that is more for just releasing. And I'm curious to hear how you use it, because I know you love that. And then the other one is more of it's a cardamom, sacred frankincense, and vanilla, which is meant to open the third eye and the heart. So all those three blends are going to be infused with the light codes and the frequencies from Bastrop as well. But we wanted to make sure we included that lime and eucalyptus blend because you mention it all the time. And I'm like, well, let's just make a blend. So what do you love about it?
That's my favorite blend. No, the eucalyptus, lime, and vanilla. It is my favorite for all the humidifiers in the house. With that particular blend, I feel that I just love it. I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, in the City of Light, we're definitely having lemon, eucalyptus, and I don't know, we're going to get vanilla from something. But I just feel like vanilla beans. I feel like that trifecta combination is something that I use daily. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, and the vanilla is like it works for anxiety.
Mhm.
It's really good to calm ourselves down, the nervous system. The lime is more of an uplifter, and so it kind of gives us more of a happier mood, and it just smells really good. Eucalyptus, and you mentioned this earlier, a lot of these oils are antibacterial, antifungal,
Yes.
antimicrobial. They're just such energy they help the energetic system, not only the physical body but also energetically. So there's different types of eucalyptus. We have two different ones that we're using. The one in your blend is really more for the upper respiratory, so it's for the nose, sinuses, really, really helpful. There's other ones that we use that are more for like if somebody has a lung infection, maybe pneumonia or something like that. But anyway, that's too much science. But it's so cool that you guys suggested that blend, and it is going to be one of the ones that we're going to be featuring. So thank you for that, and thanks for the tips. Because anything that we can do to help ourselves boost the immunity, help ourselves feel better, and keep it together, then I'm all for that. So
100%. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure being with you today. Check out teamlightstore.com, click on events, and we'll put the link here in this video as well. And then obviously starcodealchemy.com for Miss Barbara Hudak. And if you guys would like a session with Barbara, check out heartfulintegration.com, and that's where she'll do all of her sessions and whatnot. With the Teamlight store, we have a bunch of new products that we are currently about to release. I think I showed just a little snapshot of this the other day, but we actually sanded a bunch of these. We are mastering this particular design, the icosahedron. We will have our new prototypes up at the conference. We will have one equilateral, one Nubian icosahedron pyramid. We will also have two very large Nubian pyramids on stage, and one full-size 12-foot Giza pyramid over our booth. We also be there with our companions, our fellow team members over there at iPyramids as well. But the whole point is to give you guys, like, what I want is when you show up and you're like, hey man, I got a smart meter. I'm like, hey bro, use this. Hey man, I wanna remember my dreams. Sleep in one of these or put one of these under your bed. Hey bro, I'm trying to shield myself from negative energy. Go ahead and use this. Hey, I'm trying to protect my sacral from an ex-partner. Put this under your bed underneath where your sacral is. Like, ladies and gents across this planet, we have figured out the alchemy to really assist you. Okay, the crystal and stone mineral kingdoms is millions of years old on this planet. It is something that we had mastered during the times of Atlantis, and that stuff is kind of being remembered and brought back into the present moment, right, in the mainstream. And as Ms. Hudak states as well, the alchemy of wearing certain frequencies and the essences of certain very specific frequencies of flowers and eucalyptus, it has a very specific effect. So it's allowing nature to assist a human being in a very organic, homeopathic way. And I'm excited with all the new stuff and to show all my family all the new stuff. So with that, ladies and gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. All right. See you guys at the conference. Till then, peace.
Thor, we need your help to win this battle. Let's go.
All I ever want wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do